month has flown by, and it's time to have a look at the month ahead for September, the month of Virgo. Well, as usual, the focus is on the president and a little bit of that self-created scandal regarding his game farm. And it looks like in the month of September, that is going to come to a little bit of a crunch. Not a serious one, it's just the next level of pressure that's coming upon him. Is very much in the eye, and it looks like in some way he will now actually either be called to account, perhaps by Parliament, or choose to make statements of some kind. It's not so much a direct threat to the president, but it will cause some changes, and it looks like his ownership of the farm, his practicing of that business or whatever, is going to be in the focus, and the end result of all of this is more likely to be a tightening of laws regarding politicians running other businesses, more than it's likely to be anything like the impeachment of the president. So it's going to bring out again a lot of the issues of wealth and money and who owns what. And in the end, the president will survive this. But this is the month where it comes to a crunch, and he is very much in the spotlight, and it looks like Parliament calls him to order. As we've seen, they've been calling the public protector to order. There is a strong focus on the functions of Parliament over this month of September, and it looks like they'll be able to get a bunch of stuff done that either they've been criticized for not doing, or that's been in the works and has to come to an end at some point soon. That is also going to help, in the slightly longer run, improve some of the fortunes of the country in terms of how others are seeing us or how we are interacting with the world. There are some issues, though, to do with how others see us, and it does look like perhaps that's Modise's recent visit to Russia or other pronouncements we've made about that are causing some consternation in the international community. So there are some issues of having to revisit some things to do with other countries. Perhaps South African ambassadors might be called in somewhere and have to explain themselves. Certain things have to be renegotiated. Financially, it looks like we're also seeing a little bit of a stabilization or even a turnaround for the better, at least for now, of the currency. And it does look like, despite everything else, financial matters are looking a little bit better than we might expect them to look at this point. That's the currency itself, as well as the economy. Does look like there's more money around in the economy wherever than we should expect, and that's also going to increase confidence in some way. Well, not in the way that we would like. In terms of the big investors or the institutions that grade us or anything like that, there doesn't seem to be an improvement there. But certainly from the citizens' point of view, inflation and spending and all of those things are going to be better and easier for us in the month of September. Perhaps a drop in the fuel price will help us, and will also help us with the confidence that we feel about what's going on in the country as well. The focus is not only on the president, of course, it's on the governing party and on government itself. And over the past many months, I've spoken on and off about the need for people and civil society to become more involved, and we're seeing some of that beginning to crystallize over the course of the next month or so. It might relate to the formation of a political party, or perhaps the joining of some of the civil organizations or their spokespeople with people in political parties, but we are beginning to see some kind of coalescing of the non-governmental forces that are going to try and establish some kind of optimism, something to look forward to in the country, as we know the people increasingly losing confidence in the government. And very strongly shown in the chart this month is this idea of a general sense of opposition, not just an opposition party, but a general sense of opposition. And that's the next step in pushing civil society and civic organizations to do something. Not the Arab Spring that former President Mbeki threatens, although obviously that's not an impossibility, but that's not the point of our discussion here. Looking at September, what it is that we're seeing, what we really would hope to see, and that is organized grassroots, legitimate political opposition, not something violent or unpredictable like an uprising. So, and that's the one thing perhaps former President Mbeki forgets about South Africans, surprisingly, is that we're good at organizing and we're good at doing things in a way that leads to successful results without having to do the violent approach, even though we might consider that a fairly common result in this country as well. But that's what everyone thought was going to happen before 1994, wasn't it? And that isn't what happened. And it's not necessarily the spirit of those times, but it certainly is the spirit of the South African people that are responding to the sense of government not really serving their needs so strongly. As ever, the light relief and the hope continues to come from the sporting world. We've seen that shown in the charts and in reality over the last couple of months. We're not quite done with that yet, and now we're going to see beneficial sporting results in much more significant competitions, probably even redeeming ourselves where we took a few backward steps, like in that last game with the All Blacks, or in those areas of our sporting world. So that continues to be a beacon of hope for us as South Africans and a source of benefit in some way. With all the focus on Zondo and corruption, as well as the investigation into the July 21 riots in the spotlight after the last month, are we going to see any results? It certainly looks like it. It certainly looks like we are going to see some significant steps taken by the NPA or by the Hawks or whoever it may be, because it does look like we are going to actually see some people get convicted or held in some fashion. It's also going to, though, lead to a focus on correctional services, and there are issues at correctional services itself which need to come to light. It's not just about finding and dealing with the perpetrators of corruption and unrest, but it's also ensuring that our systems don't allow that to happen again. So in the long run, it's looking a little bit optimistic. September looks like it is bringing a bit of a spring to us, not an Arab Spring as former President Mbeki suggested, but actually a spring that suggests some new growth, some new light, and some positive sunny days in the future. So hang in there, they're coming. Let's have a look at what's in store for ourselves. Aries, it looks like you've got quite a busy month ahead, and it'll sometimes feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and taking 2 steps back immediately afterwards, and that there's not much getting achieved other than expending a massive amount of energy and hard work in the process. But it does look like in the long run this is going to be worth it, so you've just got to hang in there, stick with it, and do what's got to be done. It's that kind of work. What really shows is that you're spreading your influence and people are becoming aware of you or your work or something like that, which is going to benefit you in the long run. It's a time for reaching out further, but in order for that to succeed, some of those backward steps are going to need to be taken. So don't interpret it as moving backwards or interfering with your progress in getting anyone on board or something like that. It is working for you. And it's also going to be an opportunity for interesting new people to come into your life. You can get help or support from new people, but it is going to be a little bit challenging for you to be able to either ask them for that support or get whatever it is that they have to offer you. So the message is you need to go out there and find it. You need to ensure that what you need from other people, you are the one who sources it. You open your mouth, you get it, and it's going to work for you. Don't try and do this all alone. You are making forward progress. It will feel a bit easier if you get some help on board. It's going to lead to successful results. Taurians also have a month of victory ahead. It's a month of success and opportunities for success. It's one with a little bit of effort, though. You're going to have to put yourself out there, and in putting yourself out there, you are going to get some reactions which are not entirely desirable, whether that's direct enmity, someone directly trying to oppose you, or someone just following their own agenda, whatever it may be. But there is a potential clash with the other. What is really important in that or in similar elsewhere areas of your life, this is a time for negotiation, and this is a time where you might have to kind of agree to disagree. For some of you, it's going to be where you actually have to accept the authority of another person, even if by rights they don't have authority over it is that you're doing. So the idea here is strategy and a certain amount of compromise in order for you to be able to do what you need to achieve. And as I said at the beginning, you are going to achieve that, especially if it's got your own personal stamp on it. That might be why you're having that sense of conflict with the other, but it's still, with that compromise, contrary to what you might think, it is going to enable you to do it your way and do it in a way that puts your stamp on it. Your own creativity is on the line. It's time to bring it forward. That compromise is not going to compromise your creativity. Compromise the circumstances, and what you do will flourish. Geminis, it might feel like it's a month of hard work, but you're kind of doing that to yourself. Not that it's a time to slack off, but you could actually achieve a lot of what you're achieving taking a few steps back. Sometimes it's the quality of the time and effort you apply, not the quantity, that gets the job done. And right now it looks like the path is open for you to do this in a reasonably easy fashion. So be kinder to yourself and allow yourself to benefit from that. It does look like you can also get a lot of help and support from the people around you, which is great and which will make things happen at some level. But it also means that you need to invest some of your time in the people around you. You could be neglecting some of them. You could really just be so buried in your own stuff that you're not paying attention to your personal life, and your personal life will benefit from some of that attention. Still, the fact remains, it's a great month financially. You should see things increase, and that's what might be making you think you need harder work in order to make that happen, and quite the opposite is true. You also need to be focusing a little bit more on your spiritual life, whatever is important for you, to just get away from all the world, the people, and the work stuff. Get back to a sense of yourself. That's going to allow you to go back into your world, go back to your social circle and your work without that feeling of stress and pressure, and get the job done with great rewards and much less effort. Cancerians also have an opportunity to get more involved with their spiritual lives, so this is your chance also to get away from it all, and that's mostly what you want to do. It seems as if you've been neglecting your Cancerian need to just withdraw into your own space, not even family, but just you. It's time to find that man cave or that woman cave or that get away from it all space where you can just get back to the things that are important to you, from the spiritual stuff to the creative stuff to everything else that really characterizes that rich inner emotional world of the Cancerian. It's like really about getting back in touch with yourself is what that is really all about. This is also an opportunity to deal with unfinished business, tie up loose ends, finish unfinished threads, and it's going to be more successful than usual. As much as it often feels like an odious task to have to do that, it's really working for you this time. There are unexpected gains and rewards. You might be finding something new if you clean out that attic, but it's also just releasing all the unconscious energy of I've got that stuff to deal with, that is really going to allow you to open yourself to new things and new people that are going to be entering your life this time. A bit of time spent alone is going to lead to great opportunities to spend it in love. Leo, things are working way better than you expected, but what is important is that you notice that and acknowledge that to yourself. It looks like this is a time of worry and anxiety and concern, and it might be because in some way you're either in the public eye or you're out there in a way that is drawing attention to you, and you might be feeling a little put upon by that. Interesting for a sign that usually does like the spotlight, and you might still find benefits from the spotlight are really available during this time. So put yourself out there, don't be shy. They're not seeing what you imagine all those weaknesses are, all the anxiety and concern that's showing strongly in your chart. And that could also be coming from some kind of opposition that you also feel that you're facing. You might have to deal with that opposition this month, and it's a time to kind of state your ground and stand your ground and actually realize that in many ways you're more powerful than that opposition. That is not the reason to engage in a battle. It's going to go nowhere. Part of what you have to recognize about the obstacles you face this month is that your only option is going to have to be to do something like shake hands and walk away. You can't resolve it. You can't really win. The important thing is not to crumble and imagine that you're weaker and give up. It's just to clearly state your ground, define your own terms for how things need to happen. Don't worry about anyone else's terms or what you think their terms are. Your terms will make your success happen. Virgo, this is going to be a great month to reintroduce some stability into your life. And what better month than your own birthday? So it could be a starting point to getting back onto your feet or to building a strong foundation, to leaving some things behind you if necessary. But either way, building that foundation is going to be a successful step. So put your energy into that. It's a very good month financially. You should see some increase or some just increase of stability in that area as well. That can give you the confidence for expanding that foundation of yours. And also in terms of pursuing goals, whatever goals that you might have, this is a time to reach for the highest ones, for your bigger ideals, for your things which extend beyond yourself and also to your world or your society. We know that Virgos are motivated to be helpful and useful in the world, and this is going to be an opportunity to do that. The weakness in all of this is that you might be perceiving it a little bit differently. It might seem to you as if you need the help of someone else, you need someone else's resources, or even that you need their money. So take heart. Your own money is what's building strength this month. You need nothing from anyone. Draw strong boundaries, even if you're feeling sorry for them and you believe you can help those people who seem to be able to help you. Rather, draw the line. It's your chance to build your strength and to be the source of help for others, but not to depend on anything from them. Libra, this is one of those times when it's the smaller things in life that bring the bigger rewards. Things which you might think are only important to you, that are not able of getting you any further in the world, those are the things that actually are going to be working for you this month. So you should really find it a fun and rewarding month because of that. Whether it's your personal hobbies, your own stuff, your own little world that is going to bring the results for you, or something more potent like your actual professional goals, because this is also an opportunity to pursue those bigger ones if that's what's on your plate at the moment. Whichever it is, from the personal to the professional, this is the time to move forward with relative ease. You might also find help from people in the immediate environment, unrequested help or benefits from them in some way. Let it all come in. And from people very far away as well. In fact, on the subject of very far away, this is a great time for travel or for connecting online or for studying online. Anything which extends you and connects you with people and things very far away are also going to bring great rewards into your life at this time. But it's one of those times when you might even feel a little bit guilty because the stuff that you love is making everything work very well for you, and you might feel a bit bad about that. Don't. Indulge it. Doesn't last forever. Enjoy yourselves. Scorpio, this is a great time to be focusing your energy on domestic matters and on some kind of a clean out. It's time to kind of purge and let go of stuff, from the most physical, as in spring cleaning the house, to other kinds of baggage, whether it's emotional baggage, whatever kind, that you might also have been dragging along over the last few months. What you need to be a little bit careful about is that there are signs of some verbal conflict which can become a matter that freezes you or sticks you in some kind of pattern that you can't get out of. So this is the time to, if necessary, make some compromises and take a few steps back, because it's not necessarily your view which is the right view at this time. You might have to agree to disagree. There isn't any clear winner in an argument that's going nowhere, but the loser can be getting stuck into that pattern. You don't want to be the one who's that, especially since letting go of old baggage is kind of like burning off some old karma. You can really move forward successfully in terms of your goals, your life, your work, all of those things that are important to you by just getting rid of this baggage that I've been referring to. So don't let other things distract you or dissuade you. Don't get caught up in trivia like arguments that can detract you from your main path, which is about letting go of all the nonsense. So even if conflict is some of that, rather yield, say I'm sorry, let go of it and move on. Everything opens up when you do that. Sagittarius, it looks like there are great opportunities for love in the month ahead. For many of you, that's going to be love in the terms of people. For the single amongst you, this is a great time for meeting new people and perhaps taking something a little bit further. For some of you, it's just going to be the fun side of it, and it might not be something that's very lasting, but nevertheless, whatever it may be, you'll only find out by investing some of your love this month. It's time to really focus on the people that come into your life and not get distracted by haste or by other goals. It's time to really listen to what your heart wants to say. It's not only about people that our heart wants to talk, it's also about places and things and activities and everything else that we love. A lot of the new things are going to enter your life that way, and that could also be people. Talking about people that you love could be people from far away, meeting new people online, or people who come from far away. If you're traveling, that's of course one way to meet them, but it can also be new things and ideas that enter your life at this time as well. So reach out far and wide. You're going to get a lot of benefit from things that you don't know, from things and places that are a little bit exotic to you. The point really of everything that I'm saying, it's your month to wear your heart on your sleeve and let it really shine into everything you're doing. Love is going to bring you the results. And while we're on the subject of love, Capricorn, it's also time for you to get involved in sorting out everything that needs to be sorted out with regards to your personal life and personal matters. For the most part, that means it's a great month for friendship, it's a great month for connection, for all your one-to-one relationships to really thrive or fulfill their promise. For some Capricorns, that's going to relate to your romantic relationships, and that also looks like those are going to take a step forward during this time. It's the next step, whatever it may be. The next level of commitment is possible in your personal relationships at this time. For other Capricorns, it's also going to be the time to draw some healthy boundaries and better negotiate the terms of the relationship or the friendship or whatever the case may be. Because you're in a strong position this month, but the chart does show you might be losing some of your energy or impetus to the needs of others around you. It doesn't mean you must become selfish and unconcerned with their needs, but it does mean that you just need to find a better balance between you and your important connections around you. For business relationships, this is going to be excellent, but it is going to be, again, that diplomatic process of standing your ground while finding good compromises. Not something that you should find too difficult, Capricorn. Aquarius, your relationships are also really happening this month, and it's not only the personal one-to-ones that thrive, but the ones that are typically more important to you, and that's the group in some way. Be it your own personal group, the social circle, the friends, the groups that you're involved in, as well as the larger groups, society, the community, those areas where your concerns lie. This is really time to make a progress in whatever you're doing in this regard. It does mean that you do need to readjust some of your goals at this time. Adjust is the important word here. You've reached a point where you now need to take some external circumstances into account before you can make any progress. Those external changes will require you to make some changes which perhaps you're a little stubborn about or a little stuck in what you're sure is the way to go ahead. Well, don't be so sure. Some of those changes, some radically different approaches are really going to work for you. It's a little bit like it's the solutions which seem, the problems which seemed uncrackable in the last couple of months are really going to be cracked this month if you take a completely different approach. And the end result of that is that it's going to let you really do the beneficial work for the larger group that is the source of these ideals and goals in the first place. Pisces, this seems to be one of those times where you think you're making no progress. And unfortunately, that makes a little bit of a feedback loop that makes you pause, hang back, and end up not making progress. Actually, you are making progress. It just isn't visible. So that means it's a month of persist no matter what the feedback seems to be. It's not going to be a hard push. It looks like things are working well for you. But in truth, it is going to be necessary to take a couple of steps back and readdress some problems that you've kind of let slide or let slip along the way. You're going to be successful at readdressing them, so invest that time. But at the same time, the challenge is not to lose any forward momentum that's happening at this time. You are broadening your horizons, you are broadening your goals and your influence, and you widening the cast of your net, which is going to bring new people, new opportunities, new resources to you, as long as you sort out some of that older stuff that has been demanding your attention at this time. Could be a little bit of an expensive month. You're going to have to go easy on finances and make sure it's not slipping through your fingers. But with this focus on clear up what's behind you and then keep on moving forward, the best results are going to happen for you at this time. Be aware your emotional reactions are high and on slightly oversensitive mode. Tone yourself down and the whole thing will be a much more pleasant experience too.